Hello again. In this video I'm going to show you how to do one of the variations to the half of the African Flower Hexagon. We're going to call this one version A, and this is the one that you need for the top and the bottom of your blanket or throw or cushion or whatever it's going to be. And we're calling it A because it's kind of a A shape, it's got a point towards the top. I'm going to take the yarn in the colour of our choice and create a slip knot, and I'm going to chain 5 and create a circle. Now for the full flower we chained 6 and we had 6 pairs of trebles separated by a single chain. In this one we're going to have 4 pairs. So I'm going to chain 3 to make a false treble, and then I'm going to put a treble into the centre of the ring I've just created, and that's our first pair. I'm going to chain 1 and then 2 more trebles, that makes our second pair, chain 1, 2 more trebles, and that's our third pair, chain 1 and 2 more trebles to make the fourth pair. And because we're only doing half of a flower, we're not going to take it all the way around and join it up. I'm just going to chain 1 and fasten off there. So we now have a semicircle, and we've got 3 chain spaces for us to create our petals into. I'm going to take our petal colour and I'm just joining it in between the first 2 trebles, not in a chain space. So what we're doing here is building a structure to replace the petal that would have come before. So we are going to chain 3, and then we're going to chain an extra 1 to take us over to the chain space, so that's chain 4, and then we're going to do 2 trebles as before, chain 2 and 2 trebles. And just like with a full flower, we're going to chain 1 to get to the next space and then put 2 trebles in the next chain space, chain 2 and 2 more trebles. Chain 1 to get to the next chain space, and then we're going to 2 trebles, chain 2 and 2 more trebles. Just like we did at the other side, we need some sort of structure to replace the petals that would have been there. So we're going to chain one and just do a treble into the centre of your first two trebles and then fasten off. With the full hexagon, we wouldn't actually fasten off this colour because we're going to be using it again. But if we were doing it on a half, then it would mean that we would have to turn the work over and work along the back. And that's working along the wrong side, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to rejoin again in the chain space, I'm going to chain 3 to make a treble, and then I'm going to do 7 trebles into that chain space. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And as before, we're going to slip stitch into the chain 1 space and straight into 7 trebles into the next chain 2 space. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Slip stitch into the next chain 1 space and then 7 trebles into the next chain 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then I'm going to just do a treble into this gap, and that makes up our support. And it's simply a matter of chaining 1 and fastening off. And then we're ready for our next round. So for the next round, we're just going to join on at the top of the chain 3 that we did initially. And we're going to chain 1 to replace the double that would have been there. Now I know when we did the full one we didn't chain 1 because it appears to give you too many stitches, but in this case we actually do need it. So we're going to do the long double down through the bottom of that stitch, and that just pulls the 2 pieces together. And then as before, we're just going to go around in between each stitch with a double crochet. remembering to do a long double to separate each of the petals out, and then continue working all the way around till you get to the end. Not forgetting to do the long doubles where we need them. Loose ends out of the way. And we need to do a long double right down to there, and then a double just to finish off in that space there. And I'm just going to chain one and fasten off. Hopefully you can see the 3 petals, and these pieces here will be hidden when we put a border on. So it's nothing to worry about that they'll look a little bit odd to start with. So we're ready to do our border, and I'm using grey, so we're going to connect right on the very first double that we did, which is there. And I'm going to chain 3 to create a false treble. Just as before, we need to find the centre of the next petal, which is that one, count back 3, and that's where we put our next treble. So we're putting treble in the next 3 stitches, 2 and 3, and then that brings us to our centre stitch, which has the treble, a chain 1 and a treble, and then we work our way down with trebles in the next 3 stitches. So this part's exactly the same as for the full flower, with the exception that we have an extra one at the beginning. So again, we're looking for the centre of the petal, we're working back 3, and we're going to do trebles in the next 3 stitches. And in the 4th, which should be our centre, we're going to do a treble, chain 1 and a treble. And then trebles in the next 3 stitches down, and then we're going to move over to the last petal. Find the centre stitch, which is that one, work back 3 and trebles into the next 3 stitches. In the 4th, we're going to put a treble and a space with an extra chain, and a treble, and then trebles in the next 3 stitches. And to finish off and to form our support, we're just going to put a treble in the very last stitch. And fasten off. So there we have our first version of a half of an African flower hexagon. It does look a little messy, mainly because we've got a lot of weaving in to do. However, all this will be covered when we add a border. A lot of the support structure here is covered up anyway. I hope you found this video interesting. If you have, please give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to see more videos. Thank you for watching.